Teachers of Reddit, how obvious is it when one student has a crush on a classmate? Depends on the age, but the signs are obvious as heck. Lots of staring, and not so obvious but very obvious attempts at being near them. Visible disappointment when they aren't put in the same group for group work. Jealousy in all forms. I've seen a kid hate a classmate for weeks because that classmate sat next to the kid's crush for morning meeting. In 4th grade I punched my best friend in the back of the head really hard for hugging my crush. He was so confused, sad face. Asserting dominance. Super obvious. When a girl says "stupa" while laughing at a guy who is teasing her. Or a guy goes out of his way to make fun of her, steal something from her so she'll have to pursue him to get it back. It makes me 100% certain. That is a perfect spelling of the way young girls say "stop" in that situation. Can you help me out for the nuance of that? They always got "stop." Police. When I do it, it's that similar? She said it the way that they say that it's said. She said it. I say. With a shake of her head. She said it the way that they've said that they say. But I didn't know. So she just walked away. My now wife admitted to stealing my sweater so I'd have to call her. I still wonder about the ethics of that. Ethically questionable. Cute as duck. Stop it. Ron. STAAAHHP. Shout out to my high school econ teacher for noticing that me and a girl were into each other. Constantly putting us in the same group. Straight up asking the girl if she had a boyfriend while I was in the room. Mrs. Anderson is the best wingman of all time. My 9th grade geography teacher was the same way. She even let the guy switch his permanent seat to sit by me. I'm married to him now, so I guess I should be extra thankful for how cool she was about it. Holy shit, I hope she was your damn maid of honor for wingmanning that hard. Did you do anything after that? We went to prom together and dated for about a year. In middle school they just start trying to get on each other's nerves more and are usually overly smiley. The main problem comes when only one of them is smiley. That hurt me right in the feels. Holy shit. It all seems clear now. I once had a teacher tell me that my crush and I worked together well. And used him and I as an example for something. We ended up together and she said, "Ah, I so predicted it." Seeing the reaction on her face was priceless and I'll never forget it. So, apparently we were very obvious. You guys still together or nah? No, sadly. However, we texted recently and had nice conversation. You can check my other posts if you want more background. It's been a few years since high school anyways. So we are off doing our own stuff now. I once intercepted a note from a boy to a girl that, roughly translated from French, said, "I get hard for you. Do I make you moist? I've done it before. Wanna do it?" This was 8th grade English. Our Casanova wasn't the brightest bulb in the packet. But he had advanced visceral competencies. Do I make you moist? Check yes or no. I had 2 kids in one of my classes who I knew were interested in each other. The kids were working on an assignment at their desks and I was making the rounds through the room. When I got close to the couple, I overheard him say to her, "You give me the biggest boners." You should have seen his face when he realized that I heard him. Everything with students is obvious. I know who you have a crush on. I know when you and your friend got in a fight and aren't the same today. I know when you are having a bad week. I know when you've lost motivation. I know when you're looking for attention and I know when you want to be left alone. Some teachers use this information to make informed decisions, like sitting you next to your crush, cutting you slack that day, asking if everything is alright, etc. But I've seen some use it to be unfair to students. Edit. Thank you for the silver smiley face. I am glad to hear some positive stories of caring teachers from people. I work at an alternative school with kids who have lots of trauma from their past. I think if you cannot be compassionate you shouldn't be in this profession, but I understand many have had negative experiences with teachers who shouldn't have taken the career path. I really appreciate a teacher I had in high school who, when I fell asleep constantly in his class, didn't get mad at me, but instead asked quietly after class if I was getting enough sleep at home because he was concerned about me. I was in one of my first depression cycles and not sleeping well. I really appreciated the kindness. My investment professor caught me sleeping every day. but never brought it up and always answered all my questions in office hours. He was truly a godsend. There's a boy in my class whose voice hasn't changed yet. But every time he is talking to another girl from a different class, he is noticeably lowering his voice to sound deeper. Obvious signs are obvious winking face. It's 100% super obvious all the time. But I teach emotionally damaged teenagers. Aren't all teens emotionally damaged? Distinction between emotionally damaged and not yet understanding, expressing emotions well. They start sitting next to each other. Then why does she keep moving away? Obviously playing hard to get. What's even more obvious is when one has a crush and the other isn't interested. I'm speaking strictly from the demographic from my own school I taught at. So I hope it's clear I'm not generalizing all teenagers here. But I've noticed when a girl is crushing and the guy isn't. He is more likely, but not always, to be more forward about telling her so. To the point, in 1 or 2 cases, of sometimes being openly cruel to her. The girls in the reverse situation act annoyed and will sometimes make their disinterest clear. But more often than not they grin and bear it and try to pretend the crush doesn't exist. That's all I've got. I was there 4 months. I remember one time during an 8th grade field day hearing a bit of an altercation between a few kids. When I went over there I saw that this one very nerdy kid was chasing another boy around the football field. While a few other boys laughed and a girl was telling them to stop. Turns out what happened was that one of those boys was teasing the girl like that kind of stupid teasing 8th grade boys do to girls they like, and that the nerdy kid, who also seemed to have a crush on this girl, stood up to the boy to defend her honor and wanted to fight him. So instead of fighting, the boy ran in circles while the nerdy kid chased him. Furious and red in the face. It was very cringy. I got the vibe that the girl didn't mind the teasing from that boy and that the nerdy kid's crush was probably not reciprocated. I broke up the fight. Partly because I wanted to save the nerdy kid from his 8th grade self. I think most of us have been in a situation as a teenager where we try to impress someone who doesn't feel the same way. I didn't want him to look back years later and be even more embarrassed by it had it gone on longer. I need someone to save me from my 8th grade self. Side note, I'm almost 40. They started hanging around each other a lot. Always hugging. Making lots of context for physical contact. Then they started holding hands. Became very, very close to the point that you'd never see one without the other until they finally started dating. They were 2 of the most troublesome children. And to this day everyone is afraid of this relationship. Former middle school teacher here. I actually told kids one year that if they wanted me to change their seating chart they could email me. This was to avoid potential conflicts or bullying. Instead, a girl asked me to put her next to the boy she liked. I did. I wanted to reward her for asking for what she wanted. I think my exact words were, "Get it, girl." Unfortunately for her, he wasn't interested. Not a teacher. But I had an amazing teacher. She knew I had a crush on this girl. And she might have known she had a crush on me. All high school assigned seating we were put next to each other. All projects we did together. She put us together for everything. I'm marrying that girl in 4.5 weeks. Thanks, Mrs. Perez. Sadly, sometimes they get aggressive to get their crush's attention. How so? It involved this one girl named Helen of Troy. Used to teach 6th and 8th grade science at an inner city school. I told all of my students their best chance at dating their crush was to be respectful. The 8th graders ignored me and proceeded to make fun of their crushes. The 6th graders though, they bought it. 11-year-olds were holding the door open and pulling chairs out for their crushes. Being supportive and kind to one another. Cutest ship ever. Edit, 1 letter. Well, not now, but when I was in high school a student and a substitute teacher had a relationship. It started off as him giving compliments every day, then after some time later they were kissing and he would grab her ass in front of other students. Don't know how she wasn't fired or how they were never caught. Wow. That is so blatant and unprofessional as to be shocking. I know these stories exist, but they always blow my mind. I just finished my schooling to get my teaching certification and am doing sub work until jobs are posted in the district. What did you think about this video? Did you like it? Please leave some feedback in the comment section below. You can always check out my other videos for more curated content just like this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.